Our final segment is our ongoing segment, Kayla Knows Nothing. This being Kayla, this being nothing all around you. And basically she's watching Game of Thrones an episode at a time, and she's now on episode 5, The Wolf and the Lion. That's not right. I flipped them, yeah.
Okay.
It's The Wolf and the Lion. And Kayla, just what are your overall impressions?
Things are starting to pick up, Dan.
They are. They're starting to get a little heated.
Things are getting... There's tension between the Lannisters, between the Starks. Things are definitely picking up.
In case you don't know, episode titles have season 1, episode 5.
Yes, very early on in
because not everyone knows the
series.
titles by heart. I can't just say that.
Right, true, yes.
All right, so once again, more new characters are introduced.
I'm having a hard time keeping characters' names straight.
I mean,
there's a lot.
I can say when I was watching for the first time, I'm right there with you. I didn't know people's names. I didn't know everyone's name. I mean, because you know some of them, right? Like know.
Yeah, I know like the main ones, but there's like the middle ones that I'm like, I don't know.
And there are so many middle characters on the show, right?
There's
a lot of supporting players.
One new one this week was the breastfeeding lady.
Yep, her name was
child. It was
Lysa
way
Aaron.
too old to be doing that. He's like 10.
The question is like, how old is Robin Aaron? Like, too old to be doing that. That's how old he is. Way too old.
It was very uncomfortable.
She is a little disturbed. What do you think of her?
She seems like she's kind of off her rocker.
I would say
paranoid, flighty, scatterbrained. I don't know.
A little bizarre, just breastfeeding.
Little off. Well, yeah,
son.
anyone who does that.
And again, that's Catelyn's sister.
Okay.
Who I think Tyrion said, like, have you seen her lately? Like, I saw her 5 years ago. I'm like, yeah, well, she kind of degraded a little bit since then. And you get the idea that she didn't know how far this has gone. Is the impression I got.
Okay.
That she thought she'd find her sister in better mental health.
Does she have a baby?
No. Lysa? No. She just has that one son. And did you pick up on who her deceased husband is?
No.
Her deceased husband is Jon Arryn.
Okay, and that's who Ned was trying to get to the bottom of.
Yeah,
and they
that's
found
the guy
out
who
he
died
was
at the top of the
poisoned.
series. Right.
Okay.
Or at least that's what everyone thinks, that he was poisoned. We're
Got
pretty
it.
damn sure. And what happened, basically, she used to live in King's Landing, and when Jon Arryn died, she rushed back to the Vale, which is where kind of Jon Arryn's seat is, like his castle, that really cool sky castle place they were all in. And she's hanging out there with her 10-year-old son, breastfeeding him and making everybody really uncomfortable.
Super uncomfortable.
What do you think of just their trip to the Eyrie? Tyrion and Catelyn along the road getting attacked?
The attack surprised me. There's blood everywhere. I kind of like Tyrion's character. He's just very always like not affected by anything. He's just very chill and
He is chilling.
I kind of feel like Catelyn is looking out for him because she was like, no, this is my prisoner. He's gonna stay safe with me.
Sure.
And I don't know. I don't think she's totally sold on the fact that he did anything wrong.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. I mean, do you think he did it? First of all.
Right now, no.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't think so either. So I wouldn't if I was in your position. I'm trying to phrase this really carefully. I wouldn't think if I was in your position.
But he's also so nonchalant, like he could easily play something off that he did. So I can see it going both ways.
But also, I mean, I think maybe it's a situation where Catelyn has kidnapped him, and maybe you're right. Maybe she does sort of think, like, oh God, did I make a mistake?
It's almost like she's just keeping him as leverage.
But where does that put her? Because she kidnapped this man, and maybe she doesn't think he actually did it anymore, but she still has him prisoner. And she's kind of causing an international incident by doing this.
Right.
She's in a tough situation.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I don't know.
We'll see how that goes.
We'll see.
Do you think they might team
But that
up,
was a
possibly?
weird cell. How it just had no wall.
Yeah, I mean, well, again, you saw it, kind of the wall,
So you get to a certain
fourth
point and you
wall
just jump.
is death.
Yeah.
Like, you're not leaving. It's called the sky
Looked a little
cells.
breezy.
A little breezy.
I would not enjoy that cell.
That's in the Vale. Then we visited Winterfell really briefly.
Yes.
And just checked in on Bran, really, and how his lessons are going.
Cute little Bran. I love him.
Good.
Yeah, and he's getting tutored.
By Maester Luwin. Any impression of him? He's been around for a couple episodes now, but I think we could talk about him now.
Kind of seems like a grandpa figure.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a nice guy. He's just there.
Wise.
their scholar in residence. He tutors everybody there.
And Bran was saying how he was mad at his mom for leaving him.
Right.
He was trying to calm him down.
Do you think that's appropriate reaction?
Yeah. How old is he? Like 8?
Like 8, 9, around there.
I'd be sad too.
And he's a paraplegic now, so he's probably upset about that.
Not a lot of things going his way right now.
Oh, but as the Maester Lewin said, he might be able to shoot a bow from horseback if they work that saddle. So that's something to look forward to. Bran, you might have something good in your future.
Positive there.
And we also, and again, we've met Theon Greyjoy before, kind of glancingly, but I figured he was featured a little more prominently this episode. We could talk about him a little more. What do you think of this guy?
I can't figure him out. Where does he have siblings? Where does he come from? Is he like one of the family guards?
Okay, his backstory is kind of convoluted, and I don't think I got this when I was watching this the first time. His name is Theon Greyjoy. He's lived with the Starks since he was like 7 or 8, like Bran's age. Mm-hmm. But he is actually from a whole different family on a place called the Iron Islands, which they touched on briefly. And the reason he's living with the Starks is because the Greyjoys, his family, rebelled against the crown like 10 years back. And the Starks and Robert defeated the Greyjoys, put down the rebellion, and they said, okay, so we defeated you, but as insurance that you're not going to do this again, we're going to take your son, and he's going to live with Ned Stark.
Okay.
And he's going to raise him like a ward. So he's grown up at Winterfell for a lot of his life, and he's like friendly with the Stark kids, but he's not one of the Stark kids. And there's always this thing hanging over him that like I'm a prisoner of war, even though I'm treated pretty nice.
To the family?
A little bit, I think.
And we saw him get naked with a prostitute.
He wasn't naked with a prostitute.
Was that someone specific prostitute?
Actually, that was. She is a character who will recur again and again. Her name is Roz.
Okay.
So it wasn't just a random naked lady.
Okay.
I will say that I think they're trying to feed you that information, and it's just there's just so much that's hard to get across. Because if you didn't get that, I don't blame you. But he'll play a bigger part later.
Okay.
Actually, we could take a quick detour now. This episode featured some nudity, male and female. It featured a horse getting beheaded at the top of the hour.
PETA would not approve of that.
PETA would
lose their
they would
heads.
not like it. Whoa.
Cheers.
And it featured a kid breastfeeding. He's 10 years old.
A lot happened.
Do you think it's a shock value they're going for here, or do you think it's justified by the story? Or there's also some gross, like, remember at the very first shot was like the people sewing his throat together?
And then there was like a sword through an eye.
Oh my god, yeah.
It's HBO. Nothing surprises me.
All right, fair enough.
And it's the time period, maybe? Is that just how it was?
I mean, that means it's a fake time period, but it's in medieval times.
Yeah.
There definitely was violence. It's just they don't have to show it. Like there are movies set in medieval times that don't show swords going through eyes,
right?
Or horses getting beheaded.
I think there's the wow factor. I think, I mean that's how you get viewers is by doing things outside the box.
I mean, I will say, I think that sometimes it's like I don't blame them for if they're going to have a battle. Sure, if it's a brutal battle, show how brutal it is.
Yeah,
I don't mind that necessarily.
The Patriot. I was not prepared.
A long time. Okay. The Patriot. Was that really bloody?
Was that a bloody one? What's a
Braveheart? That was bloody.
Braveheart? Saving Private Ryan.
Stuff like that. Oh, with the arm. Anyway, I hope one day we'll have a big discussion about
Survivor. Oh, that was bad.
Like the notion of violence and nudity on the show, because it's got its fair share of criticism.
I mean, I knew that was coming. I knew that was a part of it. And again, it's HBO, so they are kind of known for.
And it's 5 in, so we'll come back to that at some point. If you have any opinions, do you think nudity in the violence of the show is gratuitous? Let us know. Finally, by the way, did you notice that we didn't go to the Wall or Daenerys at all this episode?
But there was a lot of talk about Daenerys.
There was.
They want to kill her.
Robert wants to kill her.
And the baby.
And the baby.
I guess that's what happens when you kill the woman carrying a child.
Yeah, that would be inevitable. Well, I mean, so that happened. Do you see his point of view on killing her? Because he did justify himself. He laid out his reasons why it had to happen.
I don't. Yeah, I like that Ned stood up for her.
Of course.
And turned in his pen and was like, I'm out. Not going to do it.
And like all the advisors were advising him to do it.
Yes.
I mean, the justification is that, and I think you can make this argument that if she has a son and the Dothraki come over, they will kill a lot of people, like a lot of people.
Wasn't it the 5 against the 1?
That's a good bit, right?
He
5
did that.
against 1. So I guess I can see it from a military perspective. I can also see why Ned wouldn't want to assassinate like a 16-year-old girl.
Right. And an unborn baby.
An unborn baby, yeah. It's very unpleasant. What's your impression of, we got a better look at Varys, the bald eunuch, this episode.
I can't figure him out, really. He's
so?
kind of like but what's his deal with Littlefinger? They don't get along? What's their relationship?
They seem like I think they're rivals. Like, they both kind of have
their own agenda.
A similar role, right? They're both advisor to the king. They're both way smarter than the king is. Mm-hmm. And they both traded information a lot. So I think there's some competition there. And I think you could see that when they were kind of having their little discussion in the throne room.
They were like, well, I know this, I know this, and I'm going to tell this if this happens.
Right. They were kind of having pissing contest a bit of it. I tried to work profanity on the show.
But his meeting with Ned was a little bizarre. He was like, we've been watching you, we think you're trustworthy. Mm-hmm. He was kind of getting into something before it got interrupted.
Right. And also, but Arya overheard him talking.
She was chasing the cats.
He was chasing the cats, because you got to do that
I
if you
love
want to be a good
Arya.
sword fighter. Good.
She's fun.
Arya's the best. Again, you and Kobe Bryant.
Yes. Which, Kobe, let's have watch parties.
What do you make of that?
Team Arya. So she overheard, was that him talking?
That was Varys, that was the eunuch, and also his companion.
It was dark.
It was dark, but I'll tell you. I mean, it was definitely Varys. His companion was the guy who was hosting Daenerys and Viserys in the first episode. The one who set her up with Khal Drogo.
Okay.
And they were talking about, Drogo's going to come over, we need to set the stage, sort of. Mm-hmm. So are they in league with Daenerys and folk?
Oh, okay. Well, in their conversation, they were talking about the wolf and the lion.
Right, who are, and have you picked up that all the houses have these little symbols? Like,
yes.
The wolf is the Starks, the lion is Lannister.
Okay.
All the houses have these little symbols.
So is he trying to bring both families down? Or they're just trying to get rid of Ned?
What do you think?
I don't know. Both? Probably both?
Possibly.
I would think both. So then they reign supreme. Maybe.
We'll find out. Or you'll find out. So there's some double dealing going on. What else we? Oh, I guess the last people we met were, we got to know better. Loras Tyrell, the Knight of Flowers, who gave Sansa a rose, and she was completely just enchanted.
Yes.
And although I'm not sure he'd appreciate a return gesture.
Nope.
And his lover, Renly Baratheon, the king's younger brother.
That was a plot twist.
Was it?
I didn't see that coming. I thought he was like into Sansa.
Right.
And then he won the little, whatever it's called, jousting.
Melee against the mountain?
That guy.
That
Terrifying.
Guy. No, that guy is terrible news.
Yes. That was so scary.
To this day,
I'm glad the king put an end to that.
Beheading horse thing is like one of, like, when you think about Game of Thrones weird moments, like you keep going back to that. It's like, damn.
Well, can I tell a confession? Before I started watching the show, my roommate, like 3 years ago, made me watch one episode with her and her boyfriend, and a guy's head literally exploded. And I was like, I've seen enough. Goodbye, I'm not watching this. And here we are.
Yeah. And I'll give you a little spoiler. One of the characters you've seen today will be involved in that fight. I won't tell you if he's doing the head or he's on the
I don't even remember who it was, but it was disgusting.
Yeah,
and I was mad they made me watch it.
That's another moment I always point to. Like that, the horse beheading, maybe one other one, or like if you want to make a list of like why Game of Thrones is way too violent. Like,
you should do it. Have you done an article on most violent Game of Thrones scenes?
Would you want to do that video?
No. We'll let Mark do it. And then we see Cersei and King Robert have a civilized conversation.
Yeah, what past have come in their marriage? What do you think of that?
They got kind of deep into King Robert's ex-lover.
Right.
They talked about her and she. I don't know if they ever said a name.
They didn't ever say a name, although he did visit her grave in the pilot episode. It's Lyanna Stark, who is Ned Stark's sister, long dead sister.
Got it.
Robert kind of started the war in part for her because somebody took her. Well, I think they're being deliberately vague at this point, but without spoiling it, someone took her away. He did not like that. He went to war, and that's kind of partially what caused him to be on the throne. Like, through a long series of events, starting with that.
Okay. Then why would he ever hate on Ned?
He doesn't hate on Ned.
Isn't he mad at Ned right now?
Well, he's mad at Ned because he's rejecting his plan to kill Daenerys, but I think he still asked Ned to come to King's Landing with him and be his right-hand man. And they were laughing in the tent, remember, about the breastplate being too fat for his armor.
Right.
They're clearly old buddies.
Okay.
And he can still get mad at him, though.
And then the last scene was Jamie.
Jamie, right, there you go.
Confronting Ned about Tyrion. And that was gross, too. That's when his sword went through the eye.
Went through the eye, yeah.
Yeah, the guards were taken down, and then they go to a sword fight. Other guard puts a thing through Ned's leg. What are these weapons they use? Spear? Yeah, sure. Down goes Ned. Jamie says, "I want my brother back, or you die." The end.
Why do you think he just left him there?
I think he knew he'd be fine, which I'm not sure because he's now collapsing and bleeding out.
Do you get the idea that I've forgotten this, that that Jamie's like gonna go in for another cut, and the guy stabs him in the back, and he gets like a disappointed look, and then punches the guy in the face.
Well, it's not fun anymore. He's already down. Like, it's not a fair win.
Right, and so Jamie wants a fair win, even though he's like a scheming, sister-loving weirdo.
He's so gross. He creeps me out. But yeah, to be continued next week.
So things are heating up. How do you think this is going to go?
Well, I hope Ned lives because I love Ned.
Good, okay.
Which I think he will.
He's a nice guy.
I guess we'll find out what Tyrion's fate is. I hope we see Daenerys next week.
Next week on Wick Live.
Who else didn't we see this week?
We didn't see Jon Snow. Or Sam Tarly or The Wall. We didn't see anything.
I love Sam Tarly.
Good.
All right.
They'll all be back. I think they all come back next week.
To be continued next week.
To be continued.
Thank you guys for joining us. This is Wick Live.
Wick Live, thanks a lot.
I'm Kayla Canarum. That's Dan Selke. We will see you all next time.
Saying valor to Hires.
Cheers.
Beer.